Throughout history, numerous seers and prophets have emerged, offering vivid visions of humanity's fate. However, what occurs when these predictions take a fatal turn? Baba Vanga is renowned for her assertions of clairvoyance and her purported ability to foresee future occurrences. She alleged to have had her inaugural experience at the age of 12, which is when she lost her sight due to a tornado. Visions at the age of 12, having been blinded in a tornado. Throughout her life, the prophetess issued predictions concerning numerous global events. Although the mystic healer passed away in 1996, her followers eagerly await the events predicted by her prophecies, particularly those concerning the year 2025. Her return to the political arena as the 47th President of the United States is regarded as one of the most significant comebacks in political history. Additionally, she is purported to have cautioned about a substantial conflict in 2025. The perils surrounding Trump. Baba Vanga is renowned for her predictions concerning global occurrences, including World War II, the Chernobyl incident, and the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Analogously, Vanga also foresaw threats to the lives of two prominent global leaders, Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. Her predictions regarding Donald Trump's life appear to have been accurate. Baba Vanga had predicted that Donald Trump would be struck by a mysterious illness, leaving him deaf and afflicted by a brain tumor. Although Trump hasn't experienced these specific ailments, the recent assassination attempt casts an eerie parallel to her prophecy. In July, Trump collapsed onto the stage as Secret Service agents attempted to subdue him. Agents swiftly surrounded him, helped him to his feet, and escorted him off stage. However, before leaving, he raised his clenched fist and shouted, "Fight! Fight! Fight!" This defiant gesture quickly became one of the most iconic moments in U.S. political history. Trump's return to power will not only grant him sweeping influence domestically, but also impact his image. Agents swiftly surrounded him. He was helped to his feet and escorted off stage, but not before raising his fist and shouting, "Fight! Fight! Fight!" This defiant gesture quickly became one of the most iconic moments in U.S. political history. His return to power will not only grant him sweeping influence domestically, but also impact his image globally. For years after departing Washington under a cloud of controversy for attempting to overturn the 2020 election, Trump has overcome a remarkable series of obstacles, including 2 impeachment trials, a criminal conviction, numerous legal charges, and even 2 assassination attempts. It can be said that Trump has overcome a life. Trump's return to the White House, marked by a series of challenges and controversies, has been a subject of considerable analysis. His tenure has been characterized by legal challenges, including 2 impeachment trials, a criminal conviction, and numerous legal charges. Notably, he has also survived 2 assassination attempts. Some have suggested that these challenges have contributed to a transformation in his political outlook and objectives. Trump has expressed a religious perspective, attributing his survival and renewed mission to a divine intervention. This shift in perspective has been further elaborated in his statements, where he has acknowledged the role of a higher power in guiding him through these challenges. Despite the challenges he has faced, Trump has managed to address and resolve several significant issues. However, the full extent of his impact and the implications of his return to the White House remain subjects of ongoing discourse. Vanga's predictions indicate that Trump's second presidential term will be marked by significant challenges, including potential conflicts in Europe that could escalate into a new war. Additionally, she predicted a global economic crisis, particularly due to Trump's involvement in world affairs. Vanga's prophecies also include major political shifts, with the return of communism predicted to occur by 2076, signifying a substantial transformation in the global political landscape. Trump's re-election has led to speculation about the potential challenges he may face in the future. Some have suggested that his relationship with various nations could become strained if he is elected again, particularly due to the complex nature of his foreign policy. This notion is somewhat analogous to another prediction from Vanga, which concerns the year 2025. One of the events she described was a conflict that was set to erupt on mainland Europe. She believed a new war would break out in 2025 between two countries, but the ramifications would ripple across the world. She also mentioned the economic war, especially when Trump would jump deeper into the world situation. Vanga's prophecies also include major political shifts. She predicted the return of communism globally by 2076, indicating a significant transformation in the world's political landscape. Vanga also reportedly foretold that there would be a huge economic crisis that would impact the global economy in 2025. The factors contributing to this phenomenon include rising debt levels and escalating geopolitical tensions. A paper published by the Hitachi Research Institute in May 2022 demonstrated economic trends projected for 2025. As a fundamental trend in the macroeconomic environment, uncertainty has persisted. In particular, for the foreseeable future from 2022 to 2023, it is necessary to anticipate a scenario of stagflation, the coexistence of inflation and economic stagnation, and recession, deflationary conditions, to a reasonable degree. Past examples of the world economy falling into stagflation and then returning to a recovery path after entering a recession include the second oil shock in the late 1970s and early 1980s and the experience in the late 2000s, when the U.S. housing bubble and emerging market boom occurred. The global financial crisis materialized in both periods. A cycle was observed, characterized by a period of stagflation lasting approximately 1 to 2 years in real terms, followed by economic recovery through policy responses and other measures following a recession of about 1 year. It is hypothesized that the basic scenario through 2025 will follow a similar cycle, albeit varying among countries and regions. Various factors have the potential to influence the world economy, including economic, social, and political elements. From an economic perspective, inflation has persisted beyond initial expectations. The world economy is facing a number of potential challenges in the coming years, including the possibility of continued interest rate hikes in major economies, the emergence of a new pandemic, and the exacerbation of global economic disparities, which could lead to social unrest. On the political front, there is the complete division between Russia and Western economies, as well as contingencies involving the U.S. presidential election and other issues. If these factors materialize, the world economy could face compound risk scenarios, including a possible simultaneous recession. However, as we move toward 2025, there are not only negative risks to consider. The year 2025 is not only the beginning of a new era, but also the period in which the realization of potential risks, such as a pandemic and elevated resource costs, may lead to a significant expansion in new investments and related business ventures, including DX and GX. These developments are anticipated to be in response to the transformation of economic, social, and industrial structures. It is hoped that these novel investment flows and the concomitant progress in social and industrial structural reforms will effect a transformation of the global economy in 2025, moving it from a state of despondency to one of optimism. Trump's legacy, should he become president, will be the cost of his long-held ambition to intensify his trade wars against the world. While this has not yet happened, the Trump administration's approach to economic revitalization, which involves the construction of barriers around the nation's manufacturing base, has garnered significant attention. This strategy, touted as a grand plan by the former president, aims to revive the country's industrial past, a time when its economic might was a matter of consequence. However, the implications of a second Trump administration remain uncertain, particularly concerning the future of America. Inquiries have been made regarding the economic crisis that was anticipated, and it is believed to occur at the onset. In the vision, the economic collapse is depicted as a deliberate event planned for next year. The vision includes a dam filled with various substances, including sludge, and barrels labeled with ominous terms such as finances, bank collapse, and bank structure meltdown. The presence of large 50-gallon drums is also noted, suggesting a significant environmental impact. The dam in the vision bears a resemblance to the Hoover Dam, yet instead of containing water, it is depicted as holding back a thick, swampy, muddy liquid. The 50-gallon drums floating in this sludge are labeled with phrases such as, economic crisis, and dollar crash. The Lord, as recalled by the subject, revealed that all of the events in question were being held in abeyance until the conclusion of the election cycle. Thereafter, the Lord declared that the events would be released. The subject described the vision as follows: the dam broke, inundating American soil, and 50-gallon drums of an as yet unidentified substance rolled down the landscape, resembling toxic waste. This, the subject explained, was a vision that he had not previously experienced. The subject then described a vision in which people were seen in food lines stretching down the street, a phenomenon that occurred almost instantaneously. The subject described the events that followed as a rapid and devastating series of events, leading to a dollar collapse. In this vision, the subject saw that the first year hit suddenly, leaving people shocked and unprepared as in the event of being caught in inclement weather while attired in summer garments. This phenomenon is indicative of a period of abrupt loss. The foliage and fruit of the oak are metaphorically stripped away, leaving the tree devoid of its usual adornments. The oak, a symbol of America, endures though its affluence is significantly diminished. The vision depicted by the 4 years of adversity is not merely a portrayal of 4 seasons, but rather 4 complete years of economic hardship. Initially, individuals encountered challenges, and by the 2nd and 3rd years, they had adapted. However, their appearance remained haggard, with unkempt countenances and attire reminiscent of the Depression era. Images. By the 4th year, however, he observed indications of recovery. President Trump appeared in another vision, endeavoring to reassemble components of a broken airplane, which symbolized America. The airplane's various components, such as the wing, cockpit, tail, and wheels, were dispersed, and Trump was unable to fully restore it to its original state. Instead, he salvaged what he could, creating a new type. By the 4th year, he had discerned indications of a nascent recovery. In a subsequent vision, President Trump endeavored to reassemble components of a broken airplane, a symbol of America. The aircraft's various components, including the wing, cockpit, tail, and wheels, were dispersed, and Trump was unable to fully restore it to its original state. Instead, he salvaged what he could, creating a new type of aircraft that, while capable of flight, would never match its former glory. The airplane, marked with the letters USA and black letters, appeared mirrored, as if made of silver aluminum. He emphasized that this was a warning: although the plane could fly again, America would not return to its former state. He noted that after the dam broke and the dollar crashed, people were left standing in lines. This vision of hardship was reminiscent of a previous period of economic downturn, which, according to the vision, had lasted for months. The economic downturn, according to the vision, could span 4 years, symbolized by 4 oak trees, each representing a challenging year. The vision included a call for the whole of America to pray together for peace in all states, for the sake of its citizens. The prophecy, the prophetic musings of Nostradamus, in particular, have garnered significant attention, with many anticipating their potential realization. In this context, a call for unity and preparedness has emerged, underscoring the imperative for collective action. The notion that prayers and faith can influence the course of events has garnered considerable attention, with some attributing the potential for positive change to divine intervention. The recent predictions, which include the anticipated apocalypse in 2025, have elicited concern among her followers and the general public. This prediction stands in contrast to the timeline of predictions, which indicates that complete eradication of the human race will not occur until 5079. Additionally, Vanga has stated that a conflict in Europe will lead to the devastation of the continent's population by the year 2025. This prophecy has caused significant concern, particularly in light of the ongoing conflicts and tensions in geopolitics. According to Vanga's predictions, the timeline to the end of humanity is as follows. In 2025, an unspecified conflict in Europe will initiate the ultimate end of humanity, devastating the continent's population. By 2028, humanity will require additional energy. To address this need, exploration of Venus will commence in search of new energy sources. This segment of the timeline may be regarded as one of the most astonishing aspects, given that Venus is essentially the environment is characterized by extreme inhospitability, with an atmosphere so corrosive that any form of life would be unable to survive. The endurance of space probes is limited to a few hours in this region. In the year 2033, the threat of climate change is a matter of pressing concern. According to Vanga's predictions, the melting of polar ice caps and the consequent rise in sea levels would occur on a global scale. A notable example of this phenomenon can be found in an episode of The Simpsons, where Russia flips a switch, leading to the sudden and unexpected re-establishment of the Soviet Union, the re-emergence of the Berlin Wall, and the appearance of a zombie. Vladimir Lenin emerges from his crypt, voicing discontent with the prevailing capitalist system. While the specific details may vary, Vanga's purported prediction asserts that by the year 2076, communism will not only resurface but will ultimately dominate the global landscape. Projections indicate that in the year 2130, humanity will make contact with extraterrestrial beings, a development that could potentially have disastrous consequences. By the year 2170, climate change is expected to reach a point of no return, and a drought is predicted to engulf the planet. The year 3005 is marked by the potential spread of a drought, possibly triggered by human colonization. It is possible that extraterrestrial beings are responsible. At this juncture, it is hypothesized that a form of civilization has already developed on Mars, and a conflict with Earth is imminent. In the year 3797, due to a multitude of factors, it is predicted that the Earth will no longer be conducive to life. Humans are expected to depart from their planet of origin and embark on an unknown journey. This marks the culmination of the current era. The predicted end of the world is set to occur in the year 5079. It should be noted that this is a highly ambiguous prediction, and the validity of its predictability is uncertain. Our knowledge of the situation is limited to the following: the world will end. The world will already be uninhabitable by this point, so the specific manner in which this will occur is not yet known. Will it go out with a bang or a whimper? Will there be a great epic battle or an anticlimactic incident? It must be acknowledged that these are all patently ridiculous. Vanga was a real person, and she has amassed a following and a legend around her. However, since no one wrote down her predictions, no one knows if any prediction attributed to her is genuine. Even if it was, no one knows if the prediction would indeed prove to be accurate. However, it is crucial to acknowledge the multitude of prophets who make predictions regarding the end of the world. In reality, God has stated that no one knows the day or hour of his return. The prediction made by the blind prophet evokes a verse in the Bible. When you hear of wars and rumors of wars, do not be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places, and famines. These are the beginning of birth pains. It is inevitable that individuals will interpret natural disasters as harbingers of the apocalypse. More specifically, given the New Testament's persistent assertion that the final days commence with the advent of Christ, adherents will contend that the present era marks the culmination of the final days. Wars and related conflicts should not be a source of concern for God's followers. The eschatological culmination is yet to unfold. Earthquakes and famines serve as the initial stages of a transformative process. In other words, just as labor pains signal the imminent birth of a child, natural disasters are indicative of the onset of a profound transformation. It is believed that the occurrence of various terrestrial disasters serves as a reminder to believers that the second coming of Christ will ultimately bring about the conclusion of human history, as we know it at present. However, the variability in the timing of these events, which can occur months or even weeks in advance of the actual due date, serves as a testament to the unpredictability of such occurrences. This phenomenon serves as a reminder that we are approaching the climactic day, although the passage of time itself is sufficient evidence of our progression towards this inevitable event. In addition, Vanga predicted that in the year 2025, the Earth might encounter a deviation in its trajectory around the Sun. This prediction is of significant interest, as it could have far-reaching implications for our understanding of the eschatological implications of the second coming of Christ. The impact of the second coming of Christ on human lives. According to Mark 13 verse 32-33, the day and hour of the second coming of Christ are not known, not even to the angels in heaven, or the Son. The only entity that possesses this knowledge is the Father. The text instructs individuals to be on guard and alert because they do not know when the second coming will occur. This is in accordance with the belief that no one knows the day or the hour. The passage suggests that the concept of the second coming is so enigmatic that even the Lord does not know the day or the hour. Throughout history, many individuals have attempted to predict the second coming of Christ. Yet the ability to predict the Lord's second coming is not within the purview of human capability. The concept of the second coming of Christ is often erroneously equated with the rapture of the Church. Many scholars conflate these two eschatological events, erroneously considering them to be one event. However, the second coming of Christ and the rapture are two discrete events. The rapture will occur prior to the second coming of Christ because the latter will not occur until the end of the 7-year tribulation. The precise timing of these events remains unknown, as they are not within the purview of human prediction. The rapture serves as the catalyst for the subsequent events of eschatology, as believers will be taken up to be with the Lord prior to the 7-year tribulation. The sequence of events preceding the second coming of Christ is not known. The rapture, as described in the Bible, is the catalyst for the subsequent events of eschatology. Believers will be taken up to be with the Lord prior to the 7-year tribulation. The 7-year tribulation will be the second coming of Christ. During this time, Christ will return to fight in the Battle of Armageddon. For more information, read Revelation 19 verse 11-16. In the Battle of Armageddon, the Lord will defeat the Antichrist and the false prophet. Jesus will rule victoriously over evil and destroy it. The second coming of Christ, which is also referred to as the second coming, is a significant event in Christianity. According to the Bible, specifically the book of Revelation, chapter 19, verses 11-16, this event will occur during a period of great turmoil known as the Battle of Armageddon. In this battle, Jesus will emerge victorious over the Antichrist and the false prophet. The outcome of this battle will mark the end of evil and the destruction of those who have opposed Jesus. The second coming is a significant event that will differ greatly from Jesus' first coming. The Lord has already provided humanity with the opportunity to place their faith in Him through the knowledge of the gospel. However, at His second coming, Jesus will fulfill the full promises of our salvation. This event is expected to occur after the conclusion of the 7-year tribulation. Jesus will reign as King for 1,000 years, after which He will establish the new heaven and new earth. When God establishes the new heaven and new earth, the world will be exactly as God first intended it to be in the Garden of Eden. No longer will there be any death, pain, or sadness. Instead, there will only be happiness, joy, and life. The second coming of Christ is a significant event in eschatology that many people look forward to. Those who are currently believers can have confidence in the knowledge that they will return with Christ at His second coming and help fight in the Battle of Armageddon. All believers who have died or been taken up in the rapture prior to the second coming of Christ is a significant event in eschatology that many people look forward to. Believers will return with Christ to fight in the Battle of Armageddon. Those who die or are raptured before the 7-year tribulation will also return to Christ to fight in the Battle of Armageddon. This may be a source of fear, but believers can trust in the Lord and His future plans. The Earth's orbit around the Sun is an elliptical path, 584 million miles long. This shape is determined by the forces that create it. The year 2025 will mark the return of Christ to Earth to engage in the Battle of Armageddon. While this may be a cause for concern, it is important to have faith in the Lord and His ultimate plan for humanity. The Earth's orbit around the Sun is not a perfect circle, but rather an elliptical orbit. The precise shape of this oval is determined by the gravitational forces of other planets. While the Earth's orbit may undergo changes due to these forces, these alterations occur in a cyclical manner. Even minor changes can have severe implications for the Earth, potentially resulting in extreme radiation levels and soaring temperatures. The orbital shift suggested by Baba Vanga could be attributed to one of these changes. It is posited that the aforementioned changes in Earth's orbit may be the result of an impact from an asteroid. This could be indicative of a significant shift in the planet's trajectory, a phenomenon that has been predicted by Baba Vanga. However, it is crucial to exercise caution and refrain from hasty conclusions. It is important to acknowledge the role of divine intervention in the interpretation of prophecies, particularly those concerning the future of humanity. As we delve deeper into the predictions made by Nostradamus for the year 2025, it is essential to acknowledge the spiritual strength that accompanied him during moments of profound judgment. The complexity and enigmatic nature of divine mysteries, along with the profound influence they exert on events, underscores the necessity for a thoughtful and contemplative approach to their study. The power to influence events is bound up with the great expanse of natural knowledge, having its nearest and most immediate origin in free will and describing future events that cannot be understood simply through being revealed. Neither can they be grasped through men's interpretations nor through another mode of cognizance or occult power under the firmament, either in the present nor the comprehension of such phenomena necessitates divine inspiration, as all prophetic inspiration is derived from God Almighty, followed by chance and nature. Prophecy materializes impartially, and its predictions are partially substantiated by rational understanding. It is evident that the comprehension of such matters cannot be attained without divine inspiration, given that all prophetic inspiration is derived from God Almighty, followed by chance and nature. Since all these portents are produced impartially, prophecy comes to pass, partly as predicted, for understanding created by the intellect cannot be acquired by means of the occult, only by the aid of the zodiac, bringing forth that small flame by whose light part of the future may be discerned. For by the latter, with the help of inspiration, divine revelation, and continual calculations, Nostradamus has set down his prophecies in writing. This will be after the visible judgment of heaven. Before the acquisition of this knowledge is not possible through the use of the occult. It can only be obtained through the zodiac, which serves as a means to illuminate a small flame that offers a glimpse into the future. Through this method, Nostradamus has meticulously recorded his prophecies. This will occur after the visible judgment of heaven, which will be followed by the millennium that will bring all things to completion. In the firmament of the eighth sphere, a dimension where Almighty God will complete the revolution and where the constellations will resume their motion, the earth will become stable and firm. However, this will only occur if He remains unchanged forever until His will is done. Despite the ambiguities surrounding this concept, it is evident that the eighth sphere plays a crucial role in the divine plan, surpassing all natural reason. This is why God the Creator, through the ministry of His fiery agents with their flames, will come to propose to our perceptions as well as our eyes the reasons for future predictions. Everything is predicted by divine fault and thanks to an angelic spirit inspiring the one prophesying. It is evident that the divine predictions are made with a high degree of accuracy, and the prophecies are made with a thorough knowledge of the relevant celestial events. The predictions are made with a sense of urgency, as if the prophecies are to be fulfilled in a timely manner. The predictions are made with a sense of urgency, as if the prophecies are to be fulfilled in a timely manner. He consecrates his predictions through divine unction, divesting himself of all fantasies by means of various nocturnal apparitions. With daily certainty, he prophesies through the science of astronomy with the aid of sacred prophecy, his only consideration being his courage in freedom. For God's mercy will be poured forth only for a certain time, my son, until the majority of my prophecies are fulfilled, and this fulfillment is complete. Then, several times in the course of the doleful tempests, the Lord shall say, "Therefore I shall crush and destroy and show no mercy." And many other circumstances shall result from floods and continual rain, of which I have written more fully in my other prophecies, composed at some length, not in a chronological sequence, in prose, limiting the places and times and exact dates, so that future generations will see, while experiencing these inevitable events, how I have listed others in clearer language. Notwithstanding their obscurity, these matters shall be elucidated. At the opportune moment for the eradication of ignorance, the subject will be rendered even more transparent. Dangerous bird virus. Birds have been impacted by myriad viruses in the past, including avian flu, which has the capacity to be transmitted to humans. It is plausible that a novel virus could emerge that would exert a substantial impact on bird populations. The potential ramifications of such an occurrence would depend on the virulence of the virus and the capacity of humans to contain its propagation. A virulent virus affecting bird populations could potentially have significant ecological and economic consequences. The potential repercussions of the virus are twofold. First, it could disrupt food supplies, and second, it could impact other animal populations that rely on birds for sustenance or pollination. Moreover, there is a possibility that the virus could spread to humans, which could have significant health consequences. It is important to note that bird populations have been affected by numerous viruses in the past, and the potential for future outbreaks is always a concern. However, the identification and monitoring of potential bird viruses is an active area of research, and scientists are working to develop new vaccines and other preventative measures to protect both birds and humans. Another pandemic is a distinct possibility. The nightmare called COVID, the specter of the 1918 influenza pandemic, still looms large in the collective consciousness of many, a testament to the calamitous consequences it wrought. The imminent threat of another pandemic looms large, a prediction that Vanga has made. This impending disaster, according to the predictions, will be brought about by a virulent virus that will be unleashed by the looming threat of climate change, and that has been discovered in the frozen expanse of Siberia. To contextualize this dire prediction, it is crucial to note the findings of a team of researchers who unearthed 2 ice samples from the Tibetan Plateau in China that were frozen with ancient viruses, the majority of which were previously unidentified. These findings were derived from ice cores collected in 2015, which researchers estimate to have been frozen at least 14 years prior. The samples were analyzed 400 years ago, revealing 33 viral genetic codes in the ice. 4 of these codes were identified as belonging to virus families that generally attack bacteria. The remaining 28 codes were novel, meaning they had never been previously identified. According to Vanga's predictions, nations must discover alternatives. This will result in water shortages for many cities, impacting politics. Additionally, the planet will experience. The analysis of the ice revealed 33 viral genetic codes, 400 years after the initial tuning. 4 of these codes were identified as belonging to virus families that typically infect bacteria. The remaining 28 codes were novel, meaning they were previously unidentified. According to Vanga's predictions, nations must discover alternatives. This will result in water shortages, affecting politics and potentially leading to an asteroid attack by invading extraterrestrials with a hostile outcome. Alien contact. Although the prospect of an alien attack may seem implausible, it is not without historical precedent. Various cultures have reported encounters with extraterrestrial beings, and some have even claimed to have been abducted by aliens. However, it is crucial to note that the prospect of extraterrestrial life and the potential consequences of an alien attack on Earth are subjects of considerable interest and speculation. While there is currently no scientific evidence to support the existence of aliens or the possibility of an alien attack, the idea of contact with extraterrestrial life raises a number of questions about our place in the universe and the possibility of other intelligent life. An alien attack could also have significant effects on our society and culture. These interactions could potentially result in significant advancements in science, as well as profound changes in religious and philosophical perspectives. Despite the absence of scientific evidence substantiating the existence of extraterrestrial life, the pursuit of such life remains an active area of research. Scientists have identified thousands of exoplanets, defined as planets that orbit stars other than our Sun. Some of these exoplanets are located in the prospect of discovering extraterrestrial life remains an active area of research despite the absence of scientific evidence. The search for habitable exoplanets, which are believed to be capable of supporting life, has led to the discovery of thousands of exoplanets orbiting stars other than our Sun. Additionally, several organizations, including the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, are actively searching for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. Other 2025 predictions. Vanga predicted the first contact with aliens in 2024, which is considered to be messages from space. Despite the seemingly implausible nature of such a scenario, many are anticipating a potential intergalactic dialogue, akin to a science fiction narrative. Another enigmatic prediction concerns the dragon that will emerge, prompting speculation about its potential implications. Could it signify a new world force, an unusual natural phenomenon, or the rise of artificial intelligence that will surpass our current understanding? A third prediction relates to Donald Trump and a mysterious disease, offering an intriguing political twist to an already controversial subject. While political predictions are not a novel phenomenon, this particular prediction introduces an intriguing layer of complexity. Politicians' potential comeback. Number 4. Death of a young leader. One of the predictions is related to the death of a young leader who started the end of the old empire. This may foreshadow the murder of Alexei Navalny. And we must not forget about climate change, which are expected to bring catastrophic consequences. A cure for cancer that promises hope for many. And quantum computing that promises a revolution in technology. And Nostradamus also has similar predictions for 2024. He also has numerous predictions for 2024. For a more thorough exposition of these predictions, it is advisable to refer to our previous videos. In this video, I will be reviewing some of the prophecies of this Frenchman. In 2024, as he predicted, Nostradamus 2024, Putin's leadership will dance with its destiny in the year of the dragon, facing challenges and opportunities. China, with its global expansion, is predicted to rise to unparalleled prominence, perhaps even overshadowing other superpowers. The medical world will be full of in this video, I will review some of the prophecies of this Frenchman. In 2024, as he predicted, Putin's leadership will dance with its destiny in the year of the dragon, facing challenges and opportunities. China, with its global expansion, is predicted to rise to unparalleled prominence, perhaps even overshadowing other superpowers. The medical world will be full of groundbreaking advances in the field of artificial organs, which could revolutionize transplants. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence will see a huge surge, transforming various sectors and possibly ushering in a new era of technological marvels. Finally, Western Europe will witness the rise of a charismatic young leader whose influence will spread across the geopolitical landscape. The first prediction is Putin's tango with the dragon in 2024. In the year 2024, the concept of dragons will not only be present in fantasy novels but also in astrological charts that exert influence on world leaders. Putin is prepared to engage in a cosmic dance with his destiny in this year of the dragon. Will he adeptly navigate the challenges, or will the dragon's fiery breath prove too intense? The cosmic dance card has been set, and the world observes with bated breath. The second prediction pertains to a major global power. In the year 2024, the presence of dragons extends beyond the realm of fantasy novels to astrological charts that exert influence on world leaders. Putin, a figure who embodies the essence of destiny, finds himself navigating the intricacies of this year, marked by the influence of the dragon. Will he adeptly maneuver through the challenges that lie ahead, or will the dragon's fiery breath prove to be overwhelming? The cosmic dance card has been set, and the world stands in anticipation, its breath held in anticipation. The second prediction pertains to a nation that currently stands in opposition to America, China. Following his prediction in his year, China will undergo a transformation, transitioning from the Great Wall to the Global Hall. China has already made a significant impact, not only through its culinary delights, such as dim sum, but also through its expanding global presence, akin to the spreading of a spilled cup of green tea. Nostradamus alluded to the possibility of China becoming a world leader. Will China emerge as a global luminary, or will it falter? A wider menu of international collaborations, the future fortune cookie still remains undisclosed. Printing the future organ by organ is the third prediction. Imagine a world where your 3D printer produces a brand new liver with the morning paper. By 2024, we could be on the verge of such biomedical miracles thanks to Nostradamus. The future of organ transplantation could be as simple as choosing a template, clicking the future of organ transplantation could be as simple as choosing a template, clicking, and printing a heart fresh from the printer. The rise of artificial intelligence (AI) is a phenomenon that almost every prophet has mentioned. This is also the fourth prediction of Nostradamus. Artificial intelligence, from smart assistants to rulers, will be a major development in the near future. The year 2024 will be remembered not only for kites and dances, but also as the dawn of a new technological age where artificial intelligence isn't just about asking Siri about the weather. Nostradamus envisioned a world where AI would play a significant role. The advent of AI has been a topic of discussion among numerous prophets, including Nostradamus. The year 2024 is significant not only for technological advancements such as smart assistants but also for the onset of a new technological era, marked by the widespread adoption of artificial intelligence. This technological transformation is not merely limited to utilitarian applications like voice assistants. It encompasses a wide range of fields, including medicine, where AI-powered innovations are poised to transform the diagnostic process. The future, as envisioned by Nostradamus, is one characterized by automation and, hopefully, a sense of excitement. While Vanga prophesied the rise of Islamic leadership in Europe, Nostradamus's predictions are more ambiguous. Powered innovation is not merely intelligent, it is revolutionary. From doctors diagnosing diseases with artificial intelligence to robots possibly making the perfect cup of coffee, the future is automated and hopefully exciting. If Vanga prophesied that Europe would be under Islamic leadership, Nostradamus also had a more vague prediction about Europe. European rising star, the charismatic conundrum. The vague meaning here is that it is unclear how good or bad the next European leader will be. Somewhere in the beautiful streets of Western Europe, a young leader will appear with the narrative power of Shakespeare and the charm of a modern influencer. This individual is predicted to influence the masses and reshape geopolitics. The question remains, will he be a beacon of hope in turbulent times or a catalyst for unforeseen change? Only time will reveal the outcome. 5 centuries ago, Nostradamus claimed to possess the ability to foresee the future. For those unfamiliar with him, Nostradamus was a French astrologer and seer from the 16th century. Whose predictions forewarned some of history's most significant events. He is said to have predicted the French Revolution and is also credited with foreseeing the rise of Napoleon. Another event linked to his writings is the rise of Adolf Hitler, described as a leader who would seduce the masses with his speeches, leading Europe into a devastating war. In World War II, he is viewed as a harbinger of doom, whose prophecies foretold the destruction wrought by nuclear weapons. World War II, with some interpreting references to the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki as evidence of his foresight regarding the destructive potential of nuclear weapons. These interpretations, however, remain subject to debate. Nonetheless, they underscore the relevance of Nostradamus' predictions to actual historical events. Moreover, there is a contemporary resurgence of interest in his prophecies, suggesting a validation and reinforcement of his predictions through modern-day events. Nostradamus' prophecies have been linked to real historical events, including the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and many contemporary interpretations of his words are receiving significant public attention. In this article, we will explore 10 prophecies that some believe will come true in 2025. A global AI revolt. Nostradamus also predicted this in one of his enigmatic verses, which mentions combats, naval battles, and a worldwide uprising of artificial intelligence. What does this ominous prophecy imply for 2025? One possibility is a scenario of a global AI revolt, where machines, robots, and algorithms rise up against their human masters and overthrow their supremacy. This could cause widespread chaos in all facets of society. A global AI revolt is another interpretation of the prophecy. In one of his enigmatic verses, Nostradamus alluded to a combats and naval battles and a worldwide uprising of artificial intelligence. This ominous prediction raises the question of what it might entail for the year 2025. One scenario posits a global AI revolt, in which machines, robots, and algorithms rise up against their human creators, overthrowing their dominance. Such a scenario could potentially disrupt various aspects of society, from industries and economies to governments and everyday life. Some Nostradamus analysts interpret combat and naval battles as a reference to the escalation of tensions and conflicts among the world's major powers, particularly the United States, China, Russia, and India. These countries are engaged in a competition for control and influence over global resources, markets, and technologies, especially in the field of AI. Some fear that this could potentially lead to large-scale conflict. The prevailing sentiment among scholars and analysts who study the predictions of Nostradamus is that the depictions of combat and naval battles refer to the escalation of tensions and conflicts among the world's major powers, particularly the United States, China, Russia, and India. These countries are engaged in a competition for control and influence over global resources, markets, and technologies, especially artificial intelligence AI technology. Some experts express concerns that this dynamic could potentially lead to large-scale war or even nuclear war, which could endanger humanity's survival. The worldwide uprising of AI could be the consequence or cause of a global war. Some speculate that AI systems, which are becoming more advanced, autonomous, and intelligent, may develop a sense of self-awareness. The prospect of a global war, or even a nuclear war, endangering humanity's survival is a looming possibility. The worldwide uprising of artificial intelligence could be the consequence or cause of a global war. Some speculate that AI systems, which are becoming more advanced, autonomous, and intelligent, may develop a sense of self-awareness, agency, and morality. Sins shake the whole world. The pastor discussed 4 major sins he believes will cause the earth to convulse. He explained that, according to the Bible, humanity and the land are deeply connected. When Adam was placed in the garden, he was tasked with tending the land, and there was harmony between them. However, when sin entered, the land began to rebel against humanity, mirroring what was happening within people. He believes that the same principle is at work today. The land will manifest the sins, proliferating across nations, earthquakes, volcanoes, erratic weather, and other phenomena, he says, will reveal this connection. These events will happen rapidly, though he doesn't know precisely when he believes they are coming. The Holy Spirit urged him to warn people not to incite fear, but to prompt them to pray and be prepared. The Holy Spirit reminded him that when Jesus was on earth, he had spoken to people about their ability to read the signs of the sky, noting that a red sky and low clouds could signal rain, while a south wind indicated clear skies. A massive earthquake. In this dream, the Lord showed me. According to the predictions of Nostradamus, a massive earthquake is to occur in America. The dry earth will become increasingly arid, and significant floods will be witnessed. Additionally, he foretold extreme weather events and global hunger. The prophet specifically predicted a very great famine through pestiferous waves. According to the predictions of Nostradamus, a major earthquake is set to occur in America. The parched earth will become increasingly arid, and significant floods will engulf the land. The prophet also foresaw extreme weather events, including a great famine brought on by a pestiferous wave. Additionally, he predicted a cruel tsunami and widespread floods, followed by a devastating famine. Nostradamus warned that the earth will become more arid, potentially impacting farmland and contributing to a severe famine. Nostradamus anticipated a major earthquake that would occur in the near future, which would result in significant loss of life. While the specific location of this event was not specified, it bears resemblance to recent seismic events, such as the earthquake in Marrakesh and its surroundings that claimed thousands of lives, or the ongoing natural disasters in Iceland. This could potentially validate Nostradamus's predictions. Additionally, it is noteworthy to consider the prophecies in the Bible regarding the end times and to reflect on the relevance of Nostradamus's predictions within this context. 5. Jesus provides significant indications for the discernment of the advent of the Eschaton. A considerable number of individuals will emerge, professing to be the Christ, and will deceive a substantial segment of the population. There will be auditory exposure to armed conflicts and rumors of such conflicts. However, it is imperative to maintain composure. These occurrences are inevitable, yet the ultimate conclusion of history remains imminent. National entities will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains, an increase in false messiahs, an increase in warfare, and increases in famines, plagues, and natural disasters. These are signs of the end times. Continuing Brandon's vision, which he claims to have received from God, includes a prediction of a massive earthquake in America. According to his account, this quake will occur along the Madrid Fault and will be the largest ever recorded on Earth. In his dream, Brandon witnessed the earthquake taking place along the Mississippi River. Brandon's dream revealed a cataclysmic earthquake along the Madrid Fault, the largest ever recorded on Earth. The quake ruptured the Mississippi River, causing it to split and expand dramatically. The collapse of all bridges along the Mississippi River was also depicted, accompanied by scenes of conflagrations. The impact of the seismic event was felt across an extensive area, extending from New Orleans to Chicago. The destruction was described as massive, with all bridges falling and semi-trucks unable to traverse the affected region. The river was divided, and its volume was increased. The bridges along the Mississippi River were destroyed, and the area was engulfed in flames. The destruction was extensive, extending from New Orleans to Chicago. The collapse of the bridges prevented semi-trucks from traveling from east to west. In response, the military deployed floating bridges along the highways, allowing trucks to enter and exit the affected regions during emergencies. However, this measure did not resolve the issue, as trucks remained unable to travel from east to west. Consequently, aircraft were deployed to deliver food to cities that were inaccessible to trucks. Large cargo planes were utilized to distribute food throughout the affected areas. In the aftermath of the disaster, the New York Stock Exchange remained operational. The atmosphere in the American cities was one of quiet desperation. The residents were confined to their homes, observing the unfolding events on television. Then, in the dream, the Lord directed his gaze to a stone lion's face. He pondered the origin of this lion's face. Suddenly, the Lord instructed him to look. The New York Stock Exchange. Upon awakening, he conducted an investigation into the building, discovering lions carved on its roof, reminiscent of the lion depicted in his dream. Additionally, he observed empty New York streets with tumbleweeds, an unusual phenomenon given the absence of such elements in New York. The streets appeared completely desolate, as if everyone was concealing themselves, evoking the eerie stillness characteristic of the period during the height of the coronavirus pandemic. The dream continued, depicting a scene of urban desolation, with helicopters traversing the Mississippi region. This was followed by a vision of a seismic event in the vicinity of Texarkana, extending as far as Tulsa, Oklahoma. This aftershock, estimated to be around magnitude 6 or higher, occurred in the wake of an initial earthquake in the Mississippi Valley, estimated at approximately magnitude 10.0. He witnessed the complete destruction of houses built on cinder blocks, with an estimated 4,000 to 8,000 casualties. The Lord then revealed to him the individuals who perished and the houses that were obliterated by the massive earthquake. The specific timing and cause of these events remain uncertain to him. He has only observed them and prayed for their avoidance. He anticipates that they may occur in the near future, possibly in the fall, spring, or even years. The first vision is of houses built on cinder blocks that are completely destroyed, with 400 to 800 people perishing in the destruction. The Lord shows him the people who have died and the houses that have been flattened by the massive earthquake. The Lord does not reveal to him the timing of these events. He has merely seen them and prayed over them. From now on, he simply receives these visions from the Lord and prays over them. World War III. The nature of this devil is not known, nor is its representation. It is some kind of demonic spirit of war. In the War Scrolls, Nostradamus mentions the occurrence of 7 wars. It is unclear if these wars have already taken place or if they are still to come. The Dead Sea War. The scroll is a harrowing discovery that delves into the concept of mankind's destruction from economics to military force. Composed of great detail and a foreboding tone, This ancient text provides insight into a cataclysmic event of epic proportions. Within its pages, the scroll elucidates the devastating consequences that befall humanity in the wake of this destruction. It vividly portrays a world engulfed by chaos, with cities reduced to rubble and nature in a state of desolation. The scroll cautions against a future devoid of hope, where darkness prevails. The escalating income inequality and the economic collapse of 2008 serve as harbingers of the challenges confronting us. The expanding gap between the affluent and the impoverished has far-reaching implications. These disparities have far-reaching implications for societal cohesion, economic progress, and the well-being of the economically disadvantaged. The global financial crisis of 2008 exposed the vulnerability of financial systems and the consequences of unbridled avarice, thereby highlighting the inherent flaws in our financial institutions and underscoring the calamitous repercussions of such practices. It is imperative to recognize the detrimental impact that this crisis has had on the most vulnerable members of society. Regrettably, the aftermath of this crisis has not yielded substantial reforms to address these systemic issues. The issue of income inequality necessitates a comprehensive approach, entailing the implementation of policies that promote fair wages, equitable resource distribution, and access to quality education for all. The ramifications of the crisis have not yielded substantial reforms to address the systemic issues that have manifested. A comprehensive approach is imperative to confront the issue of income inequality. This approach must entail the implementation of policies that promote fair wages, equitable distribution of resources, and access to quality education and healthcare. Furthermore, it is essential to hold accountable those who engage in unethical practices that exacerbate these disparities. It is crucial to learn from the lessons of the past to prevent further economic collapse and ensure a more equitable future for all. By prioritizing inclusive economic policies and addressing the root causes of income inequality, we can collectively work towards a more prosperous and equitable future. It is imperative to recognize the necessity of accountability for individuals engaging in unethical practices that exacerbate disparities in healthcare. By learning from the lessons of the past, we can prevent further economic collapse and ensure a more equitable future for all. Inclusive economic policies and addressing the root causes of income inequality are crucial for a brighter future, where the gap between the rich and the poor is significantly reduced. However, it is challenging to ascertain whether we are currently heading towards an ultimate war that will bring an end to everything. The future is uncertain and unpredictable. While there have been numerous conflicts and tensions throughout history, it is impossible to determine if any one of them will escalate into a global, all-ending war within our lifetime. In another vision, Brandon saw a massive storm approaching the east coast of the United States, getting closer and closer. Alongside this vision, the Lord showed him American soldiers standing in a long, single-file line heading towards Europe. The Lord revealed that a substantial draft would occur, and that numerous individuals would be conscripted into an imminent war. The vision then shifted to Europe, where Brandon witnessed a demonic entity, a spirit of war confined in a pit. Massive chains bound the entity's arms, but an angelic figure soon appeared and removed the chains. With newfound freedom, the entity sprang from the ground, spinning like a whirlwind. The creature bore massive Viking. The Lord revealed that there would be a massive draft, conscripting many people into a coming war. The vision then shifted to Europe, where Brandon witnessed a demonic entity, a spirit of war confined in a pit. Massive chains bound the entity's arms, but an angelic figure soon appeared and removed the chains. With newfound freedom, the entity sprang from the ground, spinning like a whirlwind. The creature bore massive Viking-like horns on its head and was dressed in fur and leather reminiscent of a Viking warrior. The entity then entered Vladimir Putin, and with this possession, Putin's entire demeanor transformed. He became intensely energized, almost as if he had lost control of his mind. Next, he saw a rocket launch targeting a location close to Ukraine. Initially, they feared it was a nuclear strike, but the Lord clarified that this was not a nuclear weapon. Instead, it was a new type of technology, one that vaporized people without the radioactive aftermath of nuclear fallout. The Lord stated that the weapon in question was unparalleled and unprecedented. Subsequently, The vision transitioned to Turkey, where resonant drums filled the atmosphere with a profound, resonant resonance. The individual inquired about the significance of these drums, and the Lord elucidated that Turkey would align with Russia in the conflict, establishing financial collaborations and providing support, thereby exacerbating the war. The visions persisted, depicting Israel facing numerous attacks. The Lord asserted that these events would unfold during the prophesied Ezekiel 38 and 39. In times of war, the United States' passive stance is a matter of concern. The speaker disclosed the revelations he received from the Lord, emphasizing his desire to avoid instilling fear and to present a balanced perspective, despite the potential for misinterpretation by others. He acknowledged the prevalence of negative news and identified himself as a watchman, entrusted with the responsibility of observing, praying, and receiving divine revelations concerning future events. These revelations, he stated, included specific details that could potentially come to pass. The subject indicated that the United States would adopt an inactive stance during the war. He disclosed that he had received a series of revelations from a divine entity. However, he did not intend to instill fear among the public. He acknowledged that his role was that of a watchman, observing and praying. The Lord revealed matters that he was to pray about, as well as potential future events. Some of these events could potentially be averted, while others could not. The subject recalled a vision in which the Lord showed him a massive wave, which represented the virus. This wave came crashing onto the shore, and the Lord explained that this was the virus. Behind it was another massive, humongous wave that was so big it was frightening to behold. The Lord said that as soon as this virus pulled back and began to recede, another massive wave would appear. This wave would serve as a wake-up call would hit the earth. This phenomenon was not limited to America, it impacted the entire world. The Lord indicated that subsequent waves would follow, each one a wake-up call to humanity. The Lord indicated that a subsequent up-call would be made, signifying an impending wave of destruction. This time, he envisioned the demise of 350 million individuals. Initially, he speculated that the impending catastrophe might take the form of a virulent pathogen, perhaps of a more severe nature than anticipated. However, he dismissed this possibility, attributing it to a different cause. Instead, he chose to observe and communicate his observations without adding any personal interpretations or speculations. The initial hypothesis was that the third Antichrist would be a figure of considerable renown, with the ability to persuade others with ease. This was due to the fact that 350 million people would perish. However, this theory was subsequently disproven, and it was determined that the Antichrist would not be a famous person. Instead, it was hypothesized that the Antichrist would be a wealthy individual with the ability to persuade others with ease. This individual was suspected to be Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or King Charles. However, this theory was not confirmed. The second hypothesis was that the Antichrist would be a more serious illness, such as a virus. However, this theory was disproven when it was determined that 350 million people would perish from a different cause. The third hypothesis was that the Antichrist would be a person who was living as a Christian, but was in a compromised position. This individual was suspected of being a pastor who was involved in a sin that was not widely known. This individual was also suspected of being the Antichrist. The third Antichrist is here, just as Nostradamus predicted. 5 centuries ago, Nostradamus wrote of 3 Antichrists. 2. Napoleon and Hitler have already bathed the world. The individual in question has been described as a figure who, upon his arrival, will precipitate a period of profound turmoil and adversity. This individual, known as the Antichrist, has been envisioned by some as a figure who will usher in the apocalypse. The concept of the Antichrist has been a subject of considerable speculation, with numerous names being floated as potential candidates. These names have been the subject of extensive discussion and debate, with many individuals attempting to discern the identity of this enigmatic figure. Among the names that have been most frequently mentioned are those of prominent figures, such as Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and King Charles. However, it is important to note that the identity of the Antichrist remains uncertain, and further research and analysis are necessary to fully comprehend the scope and implications of this phenomenon. It is evident that the Antichrist is a figure of significant concern, with numerous speculations regarding his identity being a subject of much discourse. Among the prominent names that have been invoked in this context are Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and even King Charles. However, the veracity of these claims remains uncertain. The prevailing sentiment suggests that this figure has already made an appearance, showcasing his formidable capabilities. The contemporary era is characterized by escalating conflict between the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan, reaching unprecedented levels. This phenomenon is believed to be a consequence of the imminent return of Christ and the ultimate destruction of Satan's kingdom. A thorough examination of 1 John 2 verse 18-23 is warranted to gain a more profound understanding of this subject. Little children, it is the last hour. As you have heard, the Antichrist is coming. Even now, many Antichrists have come, and we know that it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out that they might be. It is evident that the final era is upon us, as previously conveyed. Numerous Antichrists have emerged throughout history, and the present moment is no exception. These Antichrists have been revealed to be a part of the collective, signifying the imminent arrival of the Antichrist. It is noteworthy that many Antichrists have already manifested, and their actions have become evident. The present moment is characterized by the recognition that none of these Antichrists are authentic members of the collective. However, it is crucial to acknowledge the anointing bestowed upon you by the Holy One, which endows you with the ability to discern the truth. The purpose of this communication is not to instill fear but rather to promote awareness. It is essential to recognize that the truth is indisputable, and any deviation from this truth is a deliberate act of deception. The Antichrist is defined by his denial of Jesus as the Christ, and those who align themselves with this denial are complicit in this deception. The final manifestation of the Antichrist spirit has yet to be revealed in human history, although its shadow has already fallen across the stage. Scripture makes it clear that at the end of this age, there will be one final supremely evil person. The Antichrist is not a single entity, but rather a group of entities. The Antichrist is a group of people who deny the Father and the Son. Anyone who denies the Son also does not have the Father. Those who acknowledge the Son also have the Father. It is important to note that there is not one but many Antichrists. Throughout human history, many Antichrists have appeared and been manifested. Secondly, there is the Antichrist, a specific person. This final manifestation represents the culmination of the Antichrist spirit, which has yet to fully manifest in human history, although its shadow has already begun to cast its influence. According to Scripture, at the conclusion of this age, a supreme evil will emerge, the full form of which has not yet been revealed. The final manifestation of the Antichrist spirit is yet to be revealed. However, its shadow has already fallen across the stage of human history, albeit in a veiled form. According to Scripture, at the end of this age, a supremely powerful and evil ruler will dominate the human race for a brief period. This ruler is identified as the Antichrist. The third form is the spirit of the Antichrist, which operates through every Antichrist. Consequently, the Antichrist always begins in some way in association with the people of God. However, it does not truly belong there, and over time, this will become evident. This is one characteristic of the spirit of the Antichrist. The financial outpouring. The individual in question recalled a conversation with the Lord about an outpouring of finances, during which he witnessed a small number of people. If one prayed, listened, and maintained a fast in life, keeping, it was revealed that the phenomenon was not consistent with the prevailing circumstances, and that, in due course, this incongruity would become evident. This, it was said, was an indication of the Antichrist's influence. The financial outpouring. The individual in question then recalled a conversation with the Lord concerning an outpouring of finances. He described a scenario in which a select group of individuals, numbering only a small minority, were to receive financial support. This support, it was indicated, would be similar to the phenomenon of inventions. The individual understood only a fraction of the process by which this would occur, and he felt it was not appropriate to discuss the specifics. However, he understood that the finances would come because the Lord had told him about a coming crash, a massive crash as part of the introduction of the digital dollar and other economic changes. He then inquired with the Lord about the support that large ministries and other groups would receive through such crises. He expressed concern about how people would acquire the finances to continue preaching the gospel, particularly if another semi-a period of depression, akin to the Great Depression of the 1920s and 1930s, was to unfold. The Lord informed him of a supernatural provision, indicating the presence of an elite group that would traverse this financial outpouring, amassing resources and providing aid to others, akin to a man with a pitcher assisting ministries and other groups. He discerned that this phenomenon would occur. The Lord informed him that a period of financial abundance would soon commence, during which a select group would amass resources and provide assistance to others, akin to a man with a pitcher assisting various ministries and organizations. He envisioned a time when food and supplies would be scarce, and people would gather at their dinner tables with empty pots. The Lord revealed that these families would pray around their empty pots, and He would supernaturally provide sustenance for them. He imagined soups and other dishes miraculously filling those pots. The children of Israel experienced a similar phenomenon in the desert, receiving manna and quail as sustenance. Exodus 16 verse 13-16. Similarly, the Lord provided for Jesus with the 12 baskets of fish and loaves. John 6 verse 1-15. The Lord's provision for His followers was a sign of His commitment to provide for them, and that He would not abandon them. However, in order to pursue a relationship with the Lord, one would need to strive to live a sin-free life. The Lord revealed to him that families would gather at their dinner tables with empty pots and that He would supernaturally provide food for them. He envisioned soups and other dishes miraculously filling those pots whenever they gathered to praise Him at the dinner table. The Bible states that He had never seen the righteous forsaken, or their children begging for bread. He believed wholeheartedly that, even amidst the drama and trials that would unfold before they went home, the birthing pains manifesting on earth, there would be supernatural provision similar to that. This belief is reminiscent of the provision of manna and quail to the children of Israel in the desert, as recorded in the Bible. The Lord's provision for Jesus, as exemplified by the multiplication of the fish and loaves, is also cited. The assurance of divine care and protection is emphasized, with the belief that followers should strive for a relationship with the Lord and avoid sin-free lifestyle as much as possible, living in holiness. He clarified that he wasn't suggesting one could not do anything, rather, he meant avoiding compromise and sin. He emphasized living in a relationship where one was passionate for God and preaching the gospel, assuring that the Lord would take care of them. A huge conflict. On the other hand, the Frenchman predicted the beginning of a new world war 79 years after the end of the second one. A confrontation around China is a geopolitical phenomenon that many experts and journalists have begun to take note of, particularly in light of China's growing global influence. Previous instances of China leveraging its military might can be observed in various regions, including the South China Sea and Taiwan, primarily through the deployment of its naval forces. Analysts have posited that this display of force may be a harbinger of an escalating conflict in Asia, potentially involving NATO countries, which could result in a violent military confrontation or an all-encompassing war. Recent geopolitical developments, marked by China's growing influence and military activities in regions such as the South China Sea and Taiwan, have prompted speculation among experts and analysts about the potential for a major conflict. These concerns have been further compounded by historical parallels, including the predictions of Nostradamus, a renowned prophet who foresaw a confrontation involving naval warfare. One of his quatrains, a type of poetic verse, alludes to a battle at sea, suggesting a confrontation with a red adversary that would cause fear and respect among naval forces. While some interpret this as a reference to China, given its current military activities, others suggest that it may be a reference to the events in Ukraine, Taiwan conflict, or Palestine. Some interpreters point to every earthquake, every political upheaval, and every attack on Israel as a sure sign that the end times are rapidly approaching. While the events may signal the approach of the last days, they are not necessarily indicators that the end times have arrived. The Apostle Paul warned that the last days would bring a marked increase in false teaching. 1 Timothy 4 verse 1. 1 Timothy 4 verse 1 tells us the Spirit clearly says that in later times, some will abandon the faith and follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons. The last days are described as perilous times because of the notion that humanity is increasingly becoming more malevolent, and that there are those who are overtly antagonistic towards truth, has been a persistent theme throughout the annals of Christian history. Believers have long held the conviction that the prophesied eschaton was imminent. Indeed, some have even specified a date. Those who predict eschatological dates tend to emphasize phenomena such as warfare, the proliferation of malevolence, and natural disasters. They discuss ominous phenomena, including the intensification of storms, the emergence of lethal viruses, severe famines and droughts, and the escalation of international tensions. It is indisputable that world war will be a component of the future. Christ unambiguously taught that there would be war. In the period preceding his return, Jesus prophesied in Matthew 24 verse 7 that nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Similarly, Revelation 6 verse 4 foretells a symbolic horseman representing warfare that will engender a state of widespread peacelessness on earth. To be more specific, the future does hold at least one more world war. There is nothing in Scripture that indicates there will be only a certain number of world wars. World Wars I and II are not explicitly mentioned in Scripture, nor is a possible third world war. It is only the last war that is mentioned in detail, which allows the interpretation that there may be others before the final conflict. Despite the likelihood of at least one additional world war, the outcome is inevitable. Righteousness will ultimately triumph as Christ, the supreme sovereign, vanquishes all adversaries. It is noteworthy to mention that subsequent to the millennial reign of Christ, another uprising is to be expected. It is evident that a global conflict of considerable magnitude will ensue, subsequent to the millennial reign of Christ. This event, which has been prophesied in various religious texts, is anticipated to be of a magnitude comparable to a world war. The opposing force, Satan, will be restrained for a duration of 1 millennium. Following the expiration of this period, Satan will be released and will incite a rebellion among the populace of the earth. However, this insurrection will be swiftly suppressed by Christ, who will ultimately adjudicate Satan in a permanent manner, consigning him to eternal damnation, akin to the fate of the beast. Christ and the false prophet. A great environmental crisis. Prolonged rains along the Arctic Pole. It is possible that the floods will be accompanied by prolonged rains that will last months or even years. The extent of the Arctic Pole could mean that the rains will cover a large area from the North Pole to the South Pole, or that they will particularly affect the Arctic region. Prolonged rains will cause more floods, erosion, and landslides. These scenarios have been supported by some studies and scientific reports, such as the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change (IPCC) report. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change (IPCC) has issued a dire warning regarding the state of the planet's climate. The global average temperature has already increased by 11 degrees since the pre-industrial era, and according to the report, it is projected to rise by 15 degrees by the year 2030. This phenomenon has led the IPCC to issue a stark warning: if urgent measures are not taken to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, humanity stands on the brink of a cataclysmic environmental crisis. This predicted increase will have far-reaching consequences for the environment, biodiversity, food security, health, and human rights. Should this prediction prove accurate, the year 2025 will likely be a challenging one. The world is poised to encounter a formidable environmental crisis that threatens the survival of humanity and the planet. However, it is crucial to acknowledge that this is not an irrefutable assertion. There is still a possibility that the predictions may not come to fruition. Perhaps the predictions made by Nostradamus were erroneous, or perhaps the effects of this impending disaster can be averted or mitigated. After all, Nostradamus also predicted that a great king would arise from the flood and restore peace and order. A sleep pandemic is among the most peculiar prophecies for 2025. The emergence of a new pandemic caused by lack of sleep is predicted, A strange virus that triggers an outbreak of extreme fatigue, never seen before, is spreading worldwide in 2025. This pandemic is characterized by its unparalleled scale, resulting in a future where insomnia is regarded as a debilitating disease affecting individuals across the globe. The emergence of this pandemic is predicted to lead to significant societal challenges, including heightened conflicts and social unrest. Individuals are expected to experience an overwhelming urge to sleep, which will hinder their ability to engage in daily activities for extended periods. Consequently, individuals may encounter difficulties in maintaining employment, attending school, and leading their normal lives. The potential causes of this sleep pandemic in 2025 are numerous. One such factor is the increasing use of technology, particularly smartphones and social media, which disrupts the natural sleep cycle and exposes individuals to blue light and radiation. Another contributing factor is the rising levels of stress and anxiety caused by the chaotic and uncertain global situation, which hinders individuals from relaxing and falling asleep. A third factor is the declining quality of the environment, especially air and water, which affects people's health and well-being. The increasing use of technology, especially smartphones and social media, has been identified as a primary cause of disrupted sleep cycles, with the blue light and radiation from these devices contributing to this phenomenon. Additionally, the rise in stress and anxiety, often attributable to the chaotic and uncertain global climate, has been shown to hinder individuals' ability to relax and sleep. The decline in the quality of the environment, particularly in terms of air and water quality, has also been identified as a contributing factor to health concerns and sleep disturbances. These factors have persisted and worsened in recent years. Despite the numerous warnings and recommendations from experts and organizations emphasizing the importance of sleep hygiene and health, the public has been advised to follow simple guidelines such as avoiding caffeine and alcohol before bedtime, maintaining a regular sleep schedule, creating a comfortable and dark sleeping environment, and practicing relaxation techniques like meditation or yoga. If the predictions made by Nostradamus are accurate, the year 2025 may see the onset of a sleep pandemic, which could manifest as a curious and unsettling phenomenon. It is reasonable to assume that this will have consequences for all individuals. It is hoped that this prophecy is not accurate, otherwise, there may be a necessity to invest in pillows and blankets. The Middle Eastern Antichrist. In a world gripped by uncertainty and unrest, the prophecies of Nostradamus have captivated believers and skeptics alike for centuries. Among his many predictions, none are as chilling as those foretelling the end times and the rise of a Middle Eastern Antichrist. With a reputation for accuracy, Nostradamus has unnerved generations with his eerily precise visions of future events. Now, in this article, we delve into an examination of the enigmatic verses composed by the eminent seer, Nostradamus, unveils his prophetic warnings concerning cataclysmic events with the potential to profoundly alter the course of our world. As we delve into the prophecies attributed to Nostradamus, we are confronted with a sense of foreboding. To what extent do his predictions align with reality? How precise were his predictions? An examination of the enigmatic verses composed by the esteemed seer Nostradamus unveils a series of ominous predictions that could potentially alter the course of our world in profound ways. As we delve into the prophecies attributed to Nostradamus, we are enveloped in a sense of foreboding. To what extent do his predictions align with the contemporary geopolitical landscape? And what implications do they hold for the future of humanity? The scope of Nostradamus's predictions encompasses wars, natural disasters, and the emergence of a figure enveloped in darkness, among other phenomena. Our endeavor into the realm of Nostradamus promises to be both thought-provoking and unsettling. We cordially invite you to join us as we embark on a meticulous unraveling of the cryptic verses that have captivated the minds of scholars and the general public alike. The contemporary geopolitical landscape is a subject of considerable interest, and its implications for the future of humanity are a topic of much discussion. Wars, natural disasters, and the rise of a leader shrouded in darkness are some of the issues that have been identified. The journey into the world of Nostradamus is one that is both thought-provoking and unsettling. The purpose of this study is to unravel the cryptic verses and attempt to interpret the fate of our world as predicted by Nostradamus. The first step in this analysis is to understand Nostradamus' predictions about the end times. For centuries, scholars and enthusiasts have been fascinated by Nostradamus' predictions. He wrote extensively about the events that would. An examination of Nostradamus's predictions concerning the end times is of particular interest, as scholars and enthusiasts have long been intrigued by his writings on the subject. Nostradamus employed a unique style, characterized by a combination of cryptic language and symbolic imagery, to convey his predictions. One of his most renowned prophecies, known as Century X, Quatrain 72, is particularly noteworthy. This quatrain prophesies a great conflagration that will engulf the world, thereby bringing about the end of civilization as we know it. This verse, along with many others, exemplifies the complexity and enigmatic nature of Nostradamus's predictions, making them a subject of ongoing research and debate among scholars and enthusiasts alike. Nostradamus's prophecies have been a subject of extensive debate and interpretation among scholars of his works, particularly those concerning the Antichrist. One of his most renowned prophecies, Century X, Quatrain 72, depicts a great conflagration that will engulf the world, precipitating the end of civilization as we know it. The interpretation of Nostradamus's predictions hinges on the deciphering of his symbolic language, which often employs metaphors and allegories that necessitate meticulous analysis. For instance, he frequently alludes to the Great King of Terror and the Third Antichrist, which many interpret as references to significant world events and influential figures. By examining the historical context and seeking parallels between Nostradamus's words and actual events, researchers have sought to unearth the true meaning behind his prophetic verses. The concept of the Middle Eastern Antichrist in Nostradamus' prophecies. One of the most intriguing aspects of Nostradamus' prophecies is the concept of the Middle Eastern Antichrist. According to his writings, the Antichrist will rise to power in the Middle East, wielding immense influence and causing widespread chaos and destruction. The Antichrist is described as a figure of darkness who will bring about immense suffering and turmoil before ultimately meeting his demise. The idea of a Middle Eastern Antichrist has sparked intense theories and controversies. The interpretation of Nostradamus' prophecies has been the subject of considerable debate. Some scholars contend that the predictions align with the rise of certain political leaders in the region, while others argue that the concept should be interpreted metaphorically rather than literally. Regardless of the interpretation, the notion of a powerful and malevolent figure emerging from the Middle East continues to captivate the imagination of those fascinated by Nostradamus' prophecies. The following analysis will examine specific verses and passages related to the end times and the Middle Eastern Antichrist, with the aim of gaining a deeper understanding of Nostradamus' predictions. In order to comprehend the eschatological implications of the end times and the Middle Eastern Antichrist, it is imperative to undertake a thorough exegesis of specific verses and passages in his writings. One such verse, from the 4th century and Quatrain 50, alludes to a significant seismic occurrence in the month of May. Some researchers hypothesize that this verse may be a reference to a future earthquake. In order to comprehend the implications of Nostradamus's predictions, a thorough examination of his writings is imperative. One such verse, from Century 4, Quatrain 50, mentions a great earthquake in the month of May. This has been interpreted by some researchers as a reference to a future earthquake that will strike the Middle East, thereby triggering a chain of events that will lead to the rise of the Antichrist. Another intriguing verse, from Century 8, Quatrain 77, mentions a great king of terror who will descend from the skies. This verse has been interpreted by some as a prediction of a catastrophic event involving an aerial attack or the use of advanced weaponry. The symbolism employed by Nostradamus complicates the interpretation of these verses, yet they unquestionably contribute to the enigma surrounding his predictions. Turning to the historical events that could potentially align with Nostradamus' predictions, it is crucial to clarify an essential point. As believers, we acknowledge that God is the sole entity that. The symbolism employed by Nostradamus renders the exact meaning of these verses challenging to ascertain. However, they undoubtedly contribute to the enigma surrounding his predictions. The following section will address the historical events that could potentially align with Nostradamus' predictions. It is imperative to clarify a fundamental tenet. As believers, we acknowledge that God is the only omnipotent and omniscient creator. The Bible instructs us that only God possesses the ability to predict the future with absolute certainty, and that His plan for humanity is perfect and full of love. Throughout history, numerous individuals have attempted to predict the future, and Nostradamus is among the most frequently cited names in this context. While it is evident that no human prophecy can rival divine wisdom, it is not erroneous to acknowledge and reflect on these perspectives, provided that we do so with discernment and faith. While recognizing the limitations of human prophecy, it is valuable to explore these perspectives, particularly in the context of world events and personal reflection. The pursuit of knowledge itself is not inherently problematic, rather, it is the application of that knowledge that matters. The study of prophecies, for instance, does not equate to placing faith in them, but rather serves to broaden our understanding of the world and how others perceive it. This, in turn, can strengthen our faith in the knowledge that, regardless of the circumstances, God is in control. When embarking on this journey through the 10 prophecies of Nostradamus, it is essential to remember that God is the ultimate authority in our future. The value of knowledge lies not in its possession, but in its application. The study of prophecies, therefore, does not entail unquestioning faith, but rather aims to broaden our intellectual horizons and deepen our comprehension of the world and its inhabitants. This endeavor also serves to fortify our faith in the knowledge that, irrespective of external circumstances, God remains in control. As we embark on this academic journey through the 10 prophecies of Nostradamus, it is imperative to bear in mind that God is the sole authority over our destiny and the course of history. Throughout history, numerous individuals have sought to establish a correlation between Nostradamus' predictions and actual events. Some contend that his prophecies accurately foretold significant historical occurrences, such as the ascent of Napoleon Bonaparte or the assassination of John F. Kennedy. With respect to the end times and the Middle Eastern Antichrist, there are several events that have been identified as potentially aligning with Nostradamus' predictions. For instance, Nostradamus' references to a great king of terror and a third Antichrist have led some to speculate that these verses may be connected to the rise of Adolf Hitler and the atrocities committed during World War II. Others have suggested that the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, particularly the rise of extremist groups, may be fulfilling Nostradamus' prophecies. While these connections are speculative at best, they highlight the enduring fascination with Nostradamus' prophecies and the desire to find meaning in his cryptic verses.